Hi Syrians, it's me Adan from the group 1 of class 11H. And today we are diving into another chapter of the past. Take a seat, get comfy, and let's explore the history the fun way. From forgotten empire to silent revolution, history shapes everything we know right now. And today we are diving into a topic that always sparks heated debate in the world of Indonesian history. Was Herman Willem Daendels is a truly wilder, or was he an oppressor of the people of Nusantara? We know Daendels is famous for constructing the Great Post Road from Anyer to Panarukan, a massive infrastructure project that is said to have been carried out through forced labor. But some people argue that Daendels actually allocated wage for the workers. The money just never reached them because corrupt colonial officials stole it. So today we'll explore both perspectives, and I'm joined by 6 speakers, 3 sides, 3 from the pro sides and 3 from the contra sides. So okay, let's greet them one by one.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Naira from the prom team, and this is my friend. His name is Abdul and her name is Matahati.
And we are from the counter team with me, Feli, and my friends Iren and Zahira.
Okay. What you know this time is forced labor, where workers are paid without wage at all. Okay? But some experts with the discovery of records from Herman William Daendels stated that the local governments cannot manage it. So, actually, we are cheated or paid.
Okay, thank you, Ahdan. In my opinion, many people are too quick to judge Daendels as an oppressor, whereas in many of his letters archived to Den Haag, he is known as a disciplined and anti-corruption leader. He even often reprimands local officials who are not honest.
I agree with Naira. So the logic is, if he is firm about finances, he has prepared funds to pay the workers of Jalan Anyer-Panarukan, but the money did not reach the workers by the field official. So the suffering of the people is not because of Daendels, but because of the corruption of the colonial system.
Well, what about you, Abdul? What is your view of Daendels?
Thank you, Adan. If you look at the context at that time, the main purpose of Daendels' arrival to the Dutch East Indies was to defend Java from British attack and improve the administration of the colonial government.
Okay, then what is the benefit for the Netherlands if the goal is only to defend Java?
At that time, the VOC territory was only left in Java. So he made one of the defenses, one of which was the road which could be used as a way for military transportation.
Then they build roads only for their own benefit, right?
Okay, wait a minute. Let's listen to their explanation first, okay? From the counter team side, maybe only the Netherlands get the advantage. So, what is the impact of forced labor for Indonesian people?
If I look at it, Daendels is actually a pioneer in the modernization of the government in Java. He made a neater administrative structure, postal system, and accelerated communication channels.
And we also have to see the actual results. The post highway is still partially used until now. So even though the method is tough, but the impact is big.
Okay. Earlier we heard the views of the pro-team, and then we view Daniels as a disciplined and reformist leader, but intent on improving the colonial system. Now it's the turn of the anti-team. Yeah. Zahira, you said the post-road project is actually evidence of Daniels' cruelty.
Okay.
So, could you explain?
Of course. So, Daniels may have arrived during a time of crisis, but his approach to solving it ultimately cost the people. The post road was built with forced labor without any pay, and many people died. If the funds were there, why weren't they paid? This means Daniels knew but allowed it to happen. He remains responsible for the people suffering.
Okay, so according to Zahira, the problem isn't just the corruption at the grassroots level, but Daniels' own political decision that force people to work without pay. So, Iran, do you agree with that?
True. Historical records show that Daniels implemented unpaid curvy labor, which killed thousands of people all around Cirebon, Pekalongan, and Banyumas. He did not reform the cruel system, but instead strengthened it for military ambitions. The post road was built not for the people, but for the benefit of the Dutch.
That was interesting. But the pro-government side mentioned earlier that the benefits are still felt today. You know that, right? Okay. And the road is still used as the main road for the North Coast Highway, or we can say Pantura. What do you think, guys?
Well, while there may be long-term benefits, they cannot erase the suffering of the people. The post road was built with blood and life of thousands of people without pay. So, the road is not only a legacy, but also a symbol of oppression.
Okay, now we are moving on to a live debate between the pro and cons team. We've heard both sides that Daniels as a disciplined reformer and also as a cruel leader. Now, let's test your arguments with the facts, okay? Let's go. Now, we move on to another issue that often sparks heated debate. Was Daniels truly a clean and anti-corruption leader? Or did he actually strengthen the colonial power for his own gain? Pro team, you go first.
Okay, thank you, Ahmed. In our opinion, Daniels was a firm and anti-corruption leader. Upon his arrival in Batavia in 1808, he immediately dismissed corrupt VOC officials and streamlined the slow bureaucracy. His action made colonial government more efficient and free from bribery and nepotism.
But Abdul, don't forget, ridding VOC officials of corruption doesn't mean Daniels was completely clean. Many historical records indicate that Daniels actually replaced old officials with people of his own choosing. They were more obedient, but that doesn't mean they weren't corrupt.
And more importantly, although he clamped down on corruption at the top, exploitation at the bottom only worse. The people were still forced to do unpaid forced labor, while the colonial officials continued to live comfortably. It wasn't a purge, but a transfer of power.
Okay, that was so interesting. So the opposing team believes Daniels only replaced the corruptor, not the system. How does the pro team respond to that?
Okay. So I understand Iran's point, but we have to be realistic, guys. Like Daniels arrived during a Dutch crisis, so he had to act quickly. Appointing loyal official was nepotism, but a strategy to keep the government running.
And regarding the exploitation of the people, don't forget that all major projects require sacrifice. What matters is tangible results, and orderly administrative system, reduce extortion, and more efficient government.
But Mata, if Daniels was truly anti-corruption, why did the report from the Jababon in 1810 record the misappropriation of logistic and military funds by officials he himself appointed?
Yes, and some local officials are forced to hand over agricultural procedure without oversight, which is also corruption, just in a different form. And the excuse of sacrifices are needed is dangerous, because if the common people are the ones being sacrificed, the system is flawed.
Wow, the arguments are getting heated. The pro team believes that Daniels was brave enough to fight out corruption, but the anti-government team say he instead created a new, more covert form of corruption. Okay? What's the pro team's response?
Okay. It's true, but we need to distinguish between personal corruption and strategic decisions. There is no strong evidence that Daniels enriched himself. He returned to Europe without a significant fortune, meaning his goal wasn't money, but government effectiveness.
I agree with Naomi. We must be objective. Every crackdown were considered corruption. There would have been no reform during the colonial era. Daniels did what other officials dared not.
Daniels may not have been personally corrupt, but he allowed systematic corruption to occur. The people suffered and officials enriched themselves, and he abused his power by selling land and positions without permission.
Okay. So you could say that Daniels was not corrupt in material terms.
Exactly.
Okay. But he was still problematic in terms of systems and the morals.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. When we talk about corruption, it's not just about money, but also about the abuse of power and the oppression of the people, and in that, Daniels clearly failed.
But without Daniel's strong leadership, Java might have fallen to the British sooner. Sometimes leaders must make unpopular decisions for the sake of stability. That's not corruption, that's political sacrifice.
Okay. Two sides of equal strength. On the one hand, Daniels is considered a reformer who fought against all corruption. So, on the other hand, he is also seen as a symbol of a new power that remains oppressive. Okay, now, I like to close this section with the one final question. For both sides, do you think corruption can be eradicated without oppressing the people?
Yes, as long as the leader is fair and transparent, Daniels failed there. He fought corruption with fear, not trust. The people are not tools, they should be involved.
Okay, but I think it's possible, but sometimes reform requires extreme discipline and firmness. Daniels may have been harsh, but it was from him that the colonial government learned about efficiency and responsibility.
Okay, very interesting. So the essence of this debate isn't just about the corruption, but isn't just about who's right, but about how the power and the morals of leadership are tested by crisis. Daniels may be clean of the money, but not of social sins, and that's an important lesson for all leaders that eradicating corruption must not sacrifice humanity. Wow, that was quite a talk. We've been debating Daniels for a while. Some say he was a builder, some say, and others say he was an oppressor, and the more we dig, the clearer it gets that history is never that simple.
Exactly. History isn't there to judge. It's there to make us think. Every decision back then had its reason, even if it didn't always lead to justice.
And that's where the lessonless power without empathy can turn into cruelty. Maybe Daniels wasn't corrupt in money, but he was blind to the suffering of the people.
Still, we can't deny that his vision was massive. The Great Post Road he built is still standing today. It's both a legacy and a reminder of the price of progress.
That's very true, Mata. Progress means nothing if it leaves people behind. Building road is great, but we should never forget who had to bleed to make it happen.
Right. Our job now is to see history from both sides and not just to excuse it, but to understand it better.
Okay, and that's the real takeaway for today. No leader is perfect, and no history or story is one-sided. So leadership isn't just about the strength, but it's about compassion too. Okay? And then, because power without humanity will always end in a pain. Okay? Next, thank you for both teams that everyone that listening. So let's keep learning, questioning, and studying, remembering, because history isn't just the past, it's a mirror for what's next.
See you next time, historians!
Di atas bumi ini ku berpijak pada jiwa yang tenang.